Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. In Psalm 92 we read, "The righteous flourish like the palm tree and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. They are planted in the house of the Lord. They flourish in the courts of our God. In old age they still produce fruit. They are always green and full of sap, showing that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him." Here in Psalm 92, the psalmist describes how the righteous person is upheld by God. When the righteous person clings to God and allows God to guide their ways, then that person flourishes. And in case you didn't notice, the flourishing is compared to a palm tree. This week we are taking some time to explore and look at the fruits they used in Bible times, most of which we still use today. The fruit we want to talk about today is the date, which comes from palm trees. Palm trees were prevalent in the ancient Mideast and hold a significant place in Israel's culture. One of the stories in the Old Testament that captures my imagination and somewhat amuses me is the one about the Hebrew people on the move in the wilderness after they have been led out of slavery in Egypt. They have been wandering around in the wilderness, hungry, thirsty, hot, uncertain, and they come to an oasis called Elim, and they make note of the fact that there were 70 palm trees there. I can't help but imagine how desperate they were for this little sign of hope that they went to the trouble to count them. And yet I can't help but imagine how desperate they were for shade and a little relief from the heat that they counted the trees, especially since palm trees don't provide that much shade. What a welcome relief that oasis with fresh water and 70 trees must have been. Jericho was known as the city of palms and is mentioned that way in at least four times in the Bible. One of the judges, a woman named Deborah, used to settle disputes among the people sitting under a particular palm tree. It also appears that the palm trees were carved into walls, doors, and door jambs and other parts of Solomon's temple. This motif was carried through into synagogues closer to the time of Jesus, and in fact you can still see such carvings of palm trees in the ruins of the synagogue in Capernaum. Jews celebrated the Feast of Booths at the harvest time, when little dwellings were set up in the fields so that everyone was ready to work at first light and also to protect what you had already harvested from thieves. This becomes interesting when, at the transfiguration of Jesus, Peter suggests building booths or little dwelling places for Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. Many suspect the transfiguration happened about this time of the festival, and when those booths were made, palm branches were used. And of course, when Jesus entered Jerusalem, the people waved palm fronds in the air to welcome him. Now, of course, we're supposed to be talking about dates, and I've spent a lot of time talking about the tree dates come from. But you see, the point is that the tree is so important in that culture, mostly because it provided the dates that people ate. The tree was a sign of blessing as it gave food, marked the place of water, and offered shade as well. Dates are mentioned only once in the Bible, in Song of Solomon, and even then it's referred to only obliquely. Perhaps what that might tell us is that dates were so commonplace that mentioning them was not even brought up. Dates were just part of everyday life, so they likely presumed everyone knew about dates and the central place they had in life for them. Maybe what I'm saying is this: dates came from palm trees, and palm trees were everywhere, providing blessing to all near and far. Maybe to those around us, we can be as much a blessing as a palm tree. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.